Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Daily English Learn, the podcast where we help you speak English naturally and confidently in real conversations. I'm Eva.
And I'm Mark, and today we're solving one of the biggest problems English learners face, and honestly, almost everyone writes to us about this.
Yes, and the problem is this. You've been learning English for months, maybe even years. You watch videos, you understand podcasts, you can follow movies, but then someone asks you a question in English and suddenly your mind freezes. You know the answer in your head, but your mouth just refuses to work.
Exactly. And if that sounds like you, take a deep breath right now. You are not slow, you're not bad at English, you're just stuck in the gap between understanding and speaking. And today, we're going to fix that gap, step by step.
So by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how to start speaking without panicking, how to keep your answer going even when you feel lost, and how to stop overthinking every single word before you say it.
And we're going to do this the simple way. No complicated grammar rules, no textbook English, just real tools that work in real life.
All right, Mark, let's jump in. Where do we start?
Okay, so let's talk about that exact moment. Someone asks you something simple like, "How was your day?" or "Do you like coffee?" And you understand the question perfectly. But when it's your turn to speak, nothing comes out. Your brain just stops.
Yes, and this happens because your brain is trying to do too much at the same time. It's trying to translate, find perfect grammar, choose the right words, and sound natural all at once. That's too much pressure.
Exactly. So instead of doing all that, we're going to give your brain a simple structure to follow. And the first tool we use is something we call the Quick Start Formula. It's very simple. You answer in 3 small parts, and each part is just 1 or 2 words. That's it.
Okay, so explain this quick start formula. How does it work?
All right, imagine someone asks you, "What did you do today?" Instead of trying to build one perfect sentence, you just say 3 things. First, one action word, then one feeling word, then one time word. That's all. So you might say, "Worked, tired, morning." And then your brain relaxes because you've already started speaking.
Oh, I see. So you're not trying to make a full sentence right away. You're just getting words out of your mouth.
Exactly. And once those words are out, it's much easier to connect them into a sentence. So after you say worked, tired, morning, you can add, "I worked this morning, so now I'm feeling tired." But the important thing is you started. You didn't freeze.
That's really smart. So the first step is just breaking the pressure. Don't think about grammar. Just say the main words first.
Yes. And Eva, let's practice this. I'll ask you a simple question. Ready?
Ready.
Do you like speaking English?
Okay, action word like, feeling word nervous, time word sometimes. So my answer is I like it, but I feel nervous sometimes.
Perfect. You started, you didn't freeze, and it sounded natural. That's the goal. And listener, this is your first tool. When someone asks you a question, don't try to build a perfect answer in your head. Just think of 3 small words first. One action, one feeling, one time. Then connect them into a sentence. That's how you stop freezing.
All right, so now you know how to break the pressure and start speaking. But the next problem is this. Even when you know what to say, you wait too long to say it because you're trying to make it perfect. And while you're waiting, the conversation moves on and you miss your chance.
Yes, and this happens all the time in real life. You're in a meeting or you're talking to a friend, and someone asks you something. You have the answer, but you spend 5 seconds thinking about grammar, and by the time you're ready to speak, the moment is gone.
So here's the second tool. We call it the 2-second rule. And it's very simple. When someone asks you a question, you must start speaking within 2 seconds. Not 5 seconds, not 10 seconds. 2 seconds.
But Ava, what if my answer isn't ready in 2 seconds? What if I make a mistake?
That's the point, Mark. You will make mistakes, but making a mistake is better than saying nothing at all. Because when you say nothing, people think you don't understand. But when you speak, even if it's not perfect, people understand you, and the conversation continues.
That's true. So the goal is not perfection. The goal is connection.
Exactly. And here's how you use the 2-second rule in real life. When someone asks you a question, start with a simple filler word, something like, well, or actually, or let me think. These words give your brain 1 extra second to think, but you're still speaking, so you're not freezing.
Oh, so it's like opening the door slowly instead of standing outside the door thinking about how to open it.
Yes, perfect example. You open the door first, then you walk in. You don't plan the whole walk before you open the door. So for example, someone asks you, "Are you free tomorrow?" Instead of thinking for 5 seconds, you just say, let me think. I have work in the morning, but I'm free after lunch."
That sounds natural, and you started within 2 seconds.
Exactly. And listener, this is your second tool. Practice starting within 2 seconds. Use a filler word if you need to, but don't wait. Speak first, think second. That's how real conversations work.
All right, so now you can start speaking without freezing. But the next problem is this. You start well, but then halfway through your sentence, you get stuck. You don't know how to finish your thought, and your brain panics.
Yes, and this is very common. You say something like, "Yesterday I went to the store because I needed," and then you forget the word, or you don't know how to continue, and you just stop.
So here's the third tool. We call it the bridge and move strategy. And it works like this. When you get stuck in the middle of a sentence, you don't stop. You use a bridge phrase to continue smoothly.
Okay, so what's a bridge phrase?
A bridge phrase is a simple phrase that helps you reset your sentence without stopping completely. For example, if you forget a word, you can say, "What I mean is," or "in other words," or "let me say that again." These phrases give you time to think, and they keep the conversation moving.
So it's like a reset button, but you don't have to start over from the beginning.
Exactly. You just reset the last part of your sentence. So imagine you're talking and you say, "Yesterday I went to the store because I needed," and then you forget. Instead of stopping, you say, "What I mean is, I needed to buy some food."
Oh, that's smooth. You didn't apologize, you didn't panic, you just continued.
Yes, and that's the key. When you get stuck, don't say, "Sorry, my English is bad." Just use a bridge phrase and keep going. Another example. Let's say you're explaining something and you say, "The meeting was difficult because the manager was," and then you can't think of the word. You just say, "In other words, he was asking too many questions, so it took a long time."
That's really helpful. So the idea is to never stop completely. Always have a way to continue.
Exactly. And listener, here are the bridge phrases you should practice. Write these down. "What I mean is," "in other words," "let me say that again," "the main point is," "so basically." Practice these phrases this week and use them whenever you get stuck. Don't stop. Bridge and move.
All right, so now you can start speaking, and you can keep going even when you get stuck. But there's one more big problem that slows you down, and that's translation.
Oh, yes, this is a huge problem. Many learners think in their native language first, then try to translate into English, and by the time they finish translating, the conversation has already moved on.
Exactly. So here's the fourth tool. We call it direct word thinking, and it means you stop translating full sentences, and instead you think in English key words.
Okay, so explain this. How do you think in English keywords?
It's simple. When someone asks you a question, don't try to translate a full answer. Just think of 3 or 4 keywords in English and then build a sentence around those keywords. For example, someone asks you, "What did you do last weekend?" Instead of translating, "I stayed at home because it was raining and I was tired," you just think of the keywords: home, rain, tired, rest. And then you say, "I stayed home because of the rain. I was tired, so I rested."
Oh, I see. So you're not translating. You're building directly in English using simple words.
Yes, and this is much faster. Because when you translate, your brain has to work twice, but when you think in key words, your brain works once. And listener, here's how you practice this. Every day, describe your day using only keywords first. Just say the keywords out loud. Work, coffee, tired, meeting. And then make one sentence. I worked today, had coffee, felt tired, and attended a meeting. That's it. Keywords first, sentence second.
That's really practical. So you're training your brain to think in English, not translate from your language.
Exactly. And the more you do this, the faster you'll speak.
All right, everyone, let's do a quick recap of everything we learned today. First, we learned the quick start formula. When someone asks you a question, don't try to build a perfect sentence. Just think of 3 small words, one action, one feeling, one time. Then connect them. That stops you from freezing.
Second, we learned the 2 seconds rule. Start speaking within 2 seconds. Use a filler word if you need to, like well or let me think, but don't wait. Speak first, think second.
Third, we learned bridge and move. When you get stuck in the middle of a sentence, use a bridge phrase like "what I mean is," or in other words, to reset and continue smoothly. Never stop completely.
And fourth, we learned direct word thinking. Stop translating full sentences. Think in English keywords first, then build your sentence. This makes you faster and more confident.
So, listener, here's your challenge for this week. Pick one tool from today's episode, just one, and use it in one real conversation. Maybe it's ordering coffee. Maybe it's talking to a coworker. Maybe it's answering a question in class. Just use one tool in one real moment. And then tell us in the comments which tool you tried and how it went.
And remember, speaking English is not about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to start. Keep going and connect with people. You already understand so much. Now it's time to let your mouth catch up with your brain.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to Daily English Learn. If this episode helped you, please share it with one friend who needs to hear this. And we'll see you in the next episode.
This is Eva.
And this is Mark. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep learning. Goodbye.